For 11 years, he followed every order, until one night he saw something he couldn't ignore. What he testified in court the next day was the beginning of Diddy's end. For 11 years, Marcus Vance followed every order. He was the shadow behind Diddy's throne. Silent, loyal, dangerous when needed. He'd flown to 6 countries without stamping a passport. He'd cleaned up messes that never made the news. He knew where the second phones were kept. He knew what names weren't written down. And he never broke. Until now. When Marcus walked through the double courtroom doors, the room froze. He wasn't listed on the witness roster. No subpoenas had been issued. Not even the prosecution seemed prepared. Diddy looked up from the defense table and for the first time in his life looked unsure. He wasn't supposed to be here. Not him. Never him. He said he'd take it all to the grave. But Marcus didn't even glance at him. Instead, he walked with steady steps to the witness box, nodded once to the judge, and sat. "Please state your name for the record," the clerk asked. "Marcus Emmanuel Vance." "Occupation?" He hesitated. "Former Executive Protection Officer for Sean Combs." The gallery erupted. Cameras clicked. Even the stenographer paused before catching up. Diddy leaned forward in his seat, face unreadable, but fists clenched beneath the table. ADA Rochelle Torres adjusted her glasses and stepped forward. "Mr. Vance, can you explain to this court why you've chosen to testify today, voluntarily and without legal compulsion?" He nodded once. "Because someone finally told me the truth," Marcus said. "And because I saw something last week that made me realize I was protecting the wrong man." Gasps filled the gallery. But he didn't explain what he saw. Not yet. Instead, he began at the beginning. February 2016, Miami. I was told to move a woman from the guest list to a private room. She didn't want to go, said she was tired. He didn't like that answer. ADA Torres leaned in. "Who gave the order?" Marcus looked directly at Diddy. He did. The judge leaned back, arms crossed. Torres asked, "Were there others involved?" Marcus nodded. "Always. Sometimes dancers, sometimes execs, sometimes just watchers. But no one stopped anything, including me." His voice cracked, just slightly. "I told myself it was protection, that it was my job, that I was keeping him safe. But I was really just keeping him powerful." The room's colder than I remember. Or maybe it's just me. It started with February. But that wasn't the moment everything changed. No. That came last week. At 3:27 a.m. A message from an encrypted account. No name, no threat. Just 4 words. "It's time to speak." Ada Torres turned back to the judge. "Your Honor, the witness is prepared to identify specific incidents, names, and locations previously unconfirmed by law enforcement." The judge raised an eyebrow. "And he does this without legal immunity?" Marcus spoke first. "I'm not here for protection," he said. "I'm here for confession." Diddy's jaw tightened. "He thinks I'm bluffing." He always did. But Marcus wasn't bluffing, because he hadn't even started yet. "Mr. Vance, you mentioned Miami in 2016, the prosecutor said. Let's talk about New York 2019. Marcus inhaled sharply. That one still haunted him. "June 14th, he said. Empire Room, Midtown." The judge leaned in slightly. "It was a private industry event by invitation only, one of those nights where phones went into locked pouches and security wore tuxedos so guests could feel safe doing things they shouldn't." He paused. "I was stationed at the eastern hallway, supposed to keep press and outsiders away. That night, Diddy pulled me aside, said he needed the penthouse level cleared for a private discussion." Torres narrowed her eyes. "Did you ask with whom?" Marcus looked over at Diddy. "I didn't need to. I saw her crying in the elevator 5 minutes later. A gasp from the front row. Torres stepped closer. And did you report what you saw? No, Marcus admitted. I escorted her out the back entrance and told the valet to get her a car. She thanked me. I nodded. That was it. But it wasn't it. I saw the bruises 2 days later, when she appeared in a blog post, smiling, pretending nothing happened. Your Honor, Torres said, we intend to call this woman as a corroborating witness, but today I ask the court to admit Mr. Vance's testimony as a first-hand account of pattern behavior. The judge nodded slowly. Let the record reflect the witness's observations. Continue. Marcus leaned forward now, his voice steady but softer. You asked why I'm here. Why now? The truth is, I've had enough. He glanced around the room. The jury, the reporters, the people in suits who'd once nodded respectfully in hallways, now pretending not to know him. There's a video, he added suddenly. The room went dead silent. What kind of video? Torres asked. Marcus looked down, his jaw clenched. From a security cam, in the Aspen property. South Wing, Guest Corridor, October 2023. The feed was supposed to be overwritten every 72 hours. He looked up. But this one wasn't, and I saw it. Diddy shifted uncomfortably. The judge tilted her head. Mr. Vance, are you stating that you possess— No, he said. I don't have it. I didn't copy it. But I know someone who did. Torres stepped forward. Who? He hesitated. I'll give her name in chambers, for her safety. She's the reason I'm here, because she said the words I hadn't let myself say in 11 years. What you saw wasn't just wrong, it was criminal. The judge called for a short recess. Jurors filed out. Cameras turned off. But Diddy didn't move. He just stared at Marcus. A long, silent look, equal parts betrayal and disbelief. I was supposed to be the loyal one. But you forgot one thing. Loyalty dies when silence becomes guilt. Marcus stood up from the stand. The bailiff guided him aside. Torres whispered something to the judge, then turned toward the court recorder. Please mark the next session for sealed testimony regarding Exhibit 89, Aspen corridor footage. Outside, rain had begun to fall, but inside the storm was just beginning. They called it Exhibit 89. A single clip. No audio. Just 2 minutes and 11 seconds of silent footage from the Aspen house. Marcus never meant to see it, but once he did, he couldn't unsee it. Court resumed under sealed conditions, jury dismissed, cameras off. Only the judge, prosecution, and defense remained. Diddy sat still, stone-faced. No sunglasses this time, no smirk. Just his right foot tapping beneath the table, slow and anxious. Marcus cleared his throat. It was sent to a secure email I haven't used since 2018. No subject line, just a file and a message. If you still remember what mercy looks like, watch this. He opened the file. A grainy overhead view, October 12, 2023, 2:48 a.m. Guest Wing, Eastern Corridor. A young woman, no older than 23, exits room 6B, barefoot. She looks around, pauses, then quickly hurries down the hallway, glancing over her shoulder. Seconds later, Diddy appears in frame. Marcus's voice tightened. He wasn't chasing, not at first. He was just walking. But she tripped. That changed everything. Judge Danner leaned forward. "And this footage, do you know who preserved it?" Marcus nodded. "I didn't at first, but the file name gave it away. It was her birthday." "Who's her?" Marcus hesitated, then said softly, "Her name is Kayla Lynn." Torres scribbled something on a yellow legal pad. "Kayla was a seasonal housekeeper, intern from Denver, hired through a contractor, worked that week, then vanished. No exit forms, no paycheck processed after that." Marcus looked at Diddy now. "He told us she quit." The judge spoke, calm but firm. "Mr. Vance, did you try to reach her?" He nodded once. "She reached me first." Flashback. A single message, 3:27 a.m. "You watched him hurt her. You didn't say a word, but now you know, so I'm asking, are you done being silent? Or should I send this to TMZ?" "That was the moment," Marcus whispered. "That was when I stopped being his shield." Back in the courtroom, the silence was heavy. Torres turned to the judge. "Your Honor, we request immediate protective status for Kayla Lynn and a sealed subpoena for her direct testimony." The defense lawyer stood. "Objection! We don't even know if this so-called footage is..." The side door opened slowly. Kayla Lynn stepped into the courtroom, her coat too large for her, sleeves past her wrists. She looked younger than anyone expected. Thin, quiet, alert like a cornered animal. Marcus hadn't seen her in person since Aspen. He stood when she entered. She nodded once, no words. The judge ordered all media and spectators cleared for her testimony. Jury still excluded. The defense muttered something, but nobody listened. Kayla sat at the witness stand. Her voice trembled at first. "My name is Kayla May Lynn. I was hired for cleaning and room prep in Aspen, October last year." Torres asked gently, "You sent the footage to Mr. Vance?" "Yes," she said. "I didn't know who else to trust." "What did you see that night?" Kayla stared at the floor for a moment, then looked up. "He told her not to speak again. Said, 'You wanted this, remember?' She tried to walk. He followed. When she fell, he didn't help. Her hands were shaking now. I didn't mean to film it. I was on break. The laundry cart had a temp cam for inventory security. No one told me. I found the footage the next day. I saved it." Torres asked, "Why didn't you go to the police?" Kayla's eyes filled with tears. "Because he had people everywhere. Because I knew what happened to the others." The judge spoke quietly. "Do you still have the original file?" Kayla pulled a flash drive from her coat pocket. "Encrypted, dated, unedited." Torres turned to the defense. "This is no longer just testimony. This is evidence." Diddy remained frozen, hands folded but fingers twitching. "He's calculating. We all see it. But what he doesn't see is how far this has already gone. This isn't about headlines anymore. It's about record." As Kayla was escorted out for protection placement, Marcus caught her eye again. He mouthed, "Thank you." She nodded. This time she smiled, barely. Back in the hallway, Torres leaned toward Marcus. "We subpoena him next." Marcus blinked. "You mean..." "Yes. Direct examination. Full exposure. Public trial resumes tomorrow." Marcus felt a weight in his chest, not dread, something sharper, clarity. "Tomorrow the world hears it, not just what he did, but what I allowed. No more shields, no more silence." In his private holding room, Diddy finally spoke, to no one in particular. "They're all making a show of it." Then he looked at his lawyer. "Make them bleed." But outside, the DA's office had already prepared Exhibit 90, and it wasn't a video. It was a contract, one Marcus had signed in 2014, with a clause he had long forgotten, a clause that proved the courtroom was packed, jury in place. Media lined the back wall. The bailiff's voice echoed, "All rise for the Honorable Judge Danner." Marcus stood in the witness box again. Same spot, different weight. Today, everything was public. The prosecutor stepped aside. Now came the defense. Diddy's lawyer, Alan Maris, walked slowly toward Marcus, holding a folder. "Mr. Vance," he began, "you've claimed to be a man of conscience, but this," he lifted a single page into the air, "is your signature." He placed the paper on the screen. Dated September 3, 2014. Subject, Non-Disclosure and Crisis Containment Compensation Agreement. Signature, Marcus E. Vance. You were paid $275,000 in exchange for silence after an incident at the Delano Hotel. Yes or no? Marcus stared at the document. Yes. You received monthly stipends under the clause Protective Advisory Retainer? Yes or no? Yes. And you continued working for Mr. Combs for 9 more years? He hesitated. Yes. The lawyer paced. Then why should anyone in this courtroom believe you now? Silence. Marcus leaned into the mic. Because for 9 years I convinced myself that protecting him meant protecting everyone else. I told myself if I stayed close, I could control the damage. But the truth is, I was just afraid to be on the outside. He turned toward the jury. I let my silence cost other people their safety. And I'll carry that, but I won't lie for him anymore. There was no applause, just stillness. Sometimes the loudest verdicts are delivered in silence. The prosecutor returned to redirect. Do you believe Mr. Combs will try to retaliate against you? Marcus didn't blink. He already has, but I'm not afraid anymore. As Marcus stepped down, Torres stood. Your Honor, the state formally introduces Exhibit 90, the 2014 contract, not to discredit the witness, but to show how far the influence reached. This trial isn't just about what was done, it's about who was protected, and who paid the price. Outside the courthouse, the crowd had grown. Signs, cameras, tears. One woman shouted, "We believe you, Marcus." He looked up, not with pride, but with something rarer. Peace. Inside the defense room, Diddy threw the pen across the table. He thought he could bury the truth, but truth doesn't die. It waits, and today it spoke. Epilogue. 2 weeks later, Marcus testified in a federal inquiry. Kayla Lynn was placed in the DOJ's Witness Protection Program, and Diddy's bail was denied. For 11 years, I walked behind him. Now, I walk alone. And for the first time in my life, my footsteps don't echo someone else's orders.